The League of United Latin American Citizens, LULAC, for those of you who don't know who we are, feel free to go to our website, lulac.org. That's LULACD.org, and you'll see the tremendous amount of work that we do all over the United States. We have offices in 35 of the United States, and Puerto Rico, we have our national office in Washington, D.C. Again, I always remind people who ask me, well, who are LULAC? I said, well, if you remember in 2007, during the immigration debate in Congress, after I believe it was Congressman Sensenbron put forth a bill that we disagreed with, on May 1st of 2007, we had 3 million people in the streets of the United States protesting that bill, including here in Houston, Texas, where almost 500,000 people turned out. So I have the privilege of being their National General Counsel, and I have been for many years. We've litigated cases in the U.S. Supreme Court. We've litigated, I know in Texas alone, over 400 cases. I think we did the single-member district case, I think here in Houston, San Antonio, Dallas, most recently in Irving, Texas. We're currently before the Fisher Court of Appeals. We argued that, I believe, 2 weeks ago in Farmers Branch. We did stop the ordinances that were attacking immigrants in Farmers Branch. We're involved in stopping the ordinances in Hazeltown, Pennsylvania. In a nutshell, what I do and what our organization does is we protect the rights of the Latino community. So someone asked me, well, why are you going to be meeting with this group of developers, people interested in doing housing? Well, as I grew up, to me, developer was a 4-letter word. But I'm 53 years old now, and I've learned that it's not a 4-letter word, just like liberal is not. I've learned that there are many things that we do agree on that we can help each other with. And this issue of housing, of land use, it may be our new civil rights issue that we are looking at. I was very proud to hear, I guess is a term, and we'll be supporting the Proposition 11. The fact that it's now going to be controlling the taking of land by government. But why did it take so long? Now, please, I hope I don't upset anybody with what I'm about to say, but the bottom line is, it's a problem now that it's a white problem. The problem of eminent domain, do y'all remember what was on this land that this beautiful center is sitting on? Or what that baseball field is sitting on? Who did those houses belong to? And you see that not all over Texas, in San Antonio, where I'm from. We have the AT&T Center. What did they tear down? We have the Alamo Dome. Whose property did they take? When we built the Hemisphere, whose property? They've always taken the poor, less economic land, and it wasn't a problem then. I will support Proposition 11 because I know I was part of those families whose land was taken and nobody stood up for us. So it's a great thing that it's now taken so long, and I would encourage everyone I know to support that because it comes down to it'll protect everyone. It's too late for some of those people who lost their land to build all these beautiful convention centers and stadiums and whatnot. But at least it'll protect us now in the future. The issue of why is this a new civil rights for us? Because as Wendell Cox has said, and if you haven't read Wendell's book, I don't agree everything he says in it, but he has, I do agree with a number of things. And one of the statistics that he cites is what this smart growth has done. That is increasing the price of homes up to 8 times beyond the average or the median income of most Latino families. Now remember, there used to be a rule of thumb. Thank you very much. I apologize. There used to be a rule of thumb that when you bought a home, you You didn't spend more than 25% of your resources should go towards your house payment. We know that. That's how my parents bought their home and others. And you could make your house payments. You could afford to buy a little car. Maybe it was a used car. But that was a rule of thumb. That became impossible. It became impossible. Part of what I do is of course, going to California, Florida, and all these other cities where we had an overwhelming number of Latino families who were losing their homes to foreclosure. Well, why? Well, you can't make $40,000, $50,000 a year and buy a $250,000 home. You can't do it. Or $300,000 home. And maybe it was my own ignorance. I couldn't myself. I'm sitting there, I'm looking at this little house, you know, the same size or smaller than the house that I grew up in, and where my parents, believe it or not, they bought the house in 1958 for like $7,000. Now it's worth maybe $55,000, $60,000. But that same house in San Diego was $400,000 and $500,000 and $600,000. And I said, what's going on here? I mean, the price of lumber, the price of shingles, and all, they can't be that much different. Faucets. Of course, it turned out to be the land. And those restrictions. And of course, that happened throughout California. As a result, this whole housing collapse, of course, it started in California. And you see that throughout the country. So I think that one of the things that we can do for those who are in the development business, in the planning business, okay, what we do is we go to battle constantly with the federal government, with the state governments, with the city governments, when they create laws and regulations which affect the Latino community. Again, whether it's voting rights, immigration rights, housing, employment, doesn't matter. This is the new civil rights for us. We've got to partner up and be able to control those government regulations that are taking away the American dream. Now, Lou Dobbs may agree with us on many things. For those of you who watch Lou Dobbs or Rush Limbaugh, they call us all kinds of names with our organization, but that's okay. Gives us more publicity. But the last time we were with Lou Dobbs, he actually agreed with us on a number of things. And what is protecting the American dream? Home ownership is the American dream. Because when you own a home, you know that you are somebody. You know that your children have roots, and that's the most important thing. You know, we have a lot of broken families in the Latino community, and that's unfortunate. But what's very important when you have a broken family or the family intact is that you have roots. I'm sure that all of you here in this room have roots. And what I mean by that is you have a place that you can always go to that you know is your home, where your families, your parents, that is your home, and it gives you a sense of security. Unfortunately, among the Latino community, for all kinds of reasons, many families don't have that. And with this smart growth, these urban planners that, I don't know what happened in the last 10 or 15 years or so, they decided to start making things impossible for the Latino family to achieve that American dream. So we are looking at that very closely. Well, I'm sure we'll be partnering up. We've been talking to some people involved in this movement about partnering up on certain litigation. And so I encourage all of you that when you see us, when you see LULAC, the League of United Latin American Citizens, say, you know what, we don't have to agree on everything. We don't have to agree on immigration. We don't have to agree on whatever. But there is the things that we will agree about. And I'm sure keeping the American dream is one of those we can agree on. And that's all we need to talk about. And so that is my role here today, was to let you know that LULAC is here to partner in the movement to keep the American dream alive.